In the land of Draco Fee, under the watchful eyes of King Draco, a journey of epic proportions is about to unfold. Our story begins with Sir J.E.'s star, a noble knight destined for greatness.
What is this place? Why does it feel so familiar yet so distant?
Sir J.E.'s star finds himself in a dream, one that feels more real than the waking world. He wanders through a misty valley guided by unseen forces.
I must understand this vision. It feels like a message, a warning, perhaps.
Little does he know, this dream is the beginning of a journey that will test his courage, his wisdom, and his very soul. His lord and ladies of Brassingtown in the city of Mecca, within guarded lands of Draco Fee of the Northern Islands, West Compass Commendirus, we meet here, future, new lands beyond death and war, south of the dark pile coves and far black mountains, east of the Elder's Rest, giant beast that forever slumber, north of the Draco Fee Islands, the lands of life and living. All families live, love and lose, so the creed of Brassingtown is, if it harms none, do what you will. Within the valley, a slow, blowing wind carries a mist that is made up of whispering voices from a distant dream. The winds softly carry the mist through the valleys, through the trees, over mountains and around hills. The voices travel far to come to a castle of white stone. Through a high window, the mist rolls in across the floor and toward the bed where Sir J.E.'s star lay sleeping, dreaming. He tosses and turns in his sleep. The mist comes closer and slowly creeps over the edge of the bed and up toward his sleeping head. The mist now engulfs him whole. Now he lays still, deep in slumber. The voices of many turn to one and with a whisper enter his ears and then through the body. The dream being dreamt is suddenly smothered in gold. Everything, including the light that shines on the skin, turns to pure gold, shining bright and reflecting a golden light so bright the body is bathed in it. The voice whispers with the same purity, with a tone of empathy. The golden light spoke, and with compassionate conviction it naturally motivated and inspired. It said,
"Be calm and sleep. Rest now. A journey begins tomorrow. With this message you will not stray. The guidance you will find the way. For the longest time I watched without intervention, resistant to assistance. However, a villain grows stronger, and you are the leader to his demise. For your eyes, the eyes of Sir J.E.'s star, a long-awaited battle awaits. For this I ask for your forgiveness. Forgiveness for what your eyes have seen is beyond my means, beyond my action, beyond my control, beyond my sea of influence. For as long as your eyes have been stolen, I have been aware of who had stolen them."
The spellcaster Edward Zipper was hidden within the cloak of a black raven crow and had been the violator to take the eyes of an innocent childling, defenseless against such evil deeds. Ever since that night, a burden lay with King Draco day and night. And so with the knowledge that your eyes, dear sir, are still living, stashed on a spellcaster's shelf far away, deep inside a dark, dangerous forest, alone they await to reunite. But without a voice they cannot scream for help. Without limbs they have no chance of escape. Without eyelids your eyes have become accustomed to the knowledge that now flows from the realm of dreams and flows without hesitation, delivered to your subconscious as if it was all just a vivid dream. How do I know all of this?
I am your king, King Draco of Draco Fee. Now awake, the journey towards a battle awaits.
The owner is coming. He's coming for his eyes upon my shelf. No defense, he knows everything else. Yes, yes, no defense, as he knows all that was to be learnt. No, 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 better go now, now. Yes, leave the jar and take everything else. Leave the jar awaiting his arrival. Out of harm's way I'll be. Yes, survival a guarantee if we leave now. Quick now, shuffle, shuffle, shove, push and jam any and everything into the carry sacks. Ride away, yes, yes, abandon this place. Scurry on. Okay, I'm going. Okay, I'm gone, leaving only a jar with 2 living eyes done. Yes, it is done. A seed has been planted someday to grow, where ill will come to collect the bearing fruits that belong to me. This will be my tree, growing silently, ideas turn to plans, actions now in an unstoppable motion, seeking moments to evolve and without incident. There will be nothing to solve, for the mystery is an invisible entity, an entity that will be me, more than the Edward Zipper that is now. I will return to collect my fruits as the entity I intend to be.
Watching through the purple haze of flame-lit crystal fragment, the spellcaster Edward Zipper spies on those he has already caused pain. Peering through the vortex of magic crystals, Edward Zipper watches the dreaming night Sir J.E.'s star. The words spoken to the night in his slumber were also heard by Edward Zipper, and panic began to consume him. For the spellcaster would meet his demise if he were to stay, and now he had begun to panic, frantic, knowing he must run, leaving his place of casting spells.
The owner is coming. He's coming for his eyes upon my shelf. No defense, he knows everything else. Yes, yes, no defense, as he knows all that was to be learnt. No, 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 better go now, now. Yes, leave the jar and take everything else. Leave the jar awaiting his arrival. Out of harm's way I'll be. Yes, survival a guarantee if we leave now. Quick now, shuffle, shuffle, shove, push and jam any and everything into the carry sacks. Ride away, yes, yes, abandon this place. Scurry on. Okay, I'm going. Okay, I'm gone, leaving only a jar with 2 living eyes. Done? Yes, it is done. A seed has been planted someday to grow, where ill will come to collect the bearing fruits that belong to me. This will be my tree, growing silently, ideas turn to plans, actions now in an unstoppable motion, seeking moments to evolve and without incident. There will be nothing to solve, for the mystery is an invisible entity, an entity that will be me, more than the Edward Zipper that is now. I will return to collect my fruits as the entity I intend to be.
Back at the castle of Brassing Town, the knight's men are fitted with heavy metal armor, tightening the armor straps of war. The bound exterior of metal meets with leather. The leather is gripped by 2 hands, fastening the straps tightened to keep safe the hearts that keep our memories well remembered in the place they will always be. The farewell to our families will not be the last memory that stains our brain, as we will return with glory. And if we shall not pass through these gates once again, may we be forever in your hearts as well, and there we will live on.
A speech well said, as we the knights fare the faces farewell.
The faces of a maiden and 2 wide-eyed children bear the emotions that one has to bear when a farewell is not a goodbye. As the maiden with strawberry red hair grasps 2 children, the emotion felt throughout their bodies is palpable. From tip to toe, the children begin to emanate and illuminate a vibrant green, pulsating in sincerity with each other's hearts, clustered together waving farewell. The tears that fall from the children's eyes not only glow as they well up and fall to the ground below. With every tear that touches the ground, it is quickly absorbed by the dehydrated surface, and from every drop, green emerges. From small clumps of moss, each drop has the potential to grow. Each teardrop would emerge gardens of all shades of green. From a floor-based collective of vibrant green foliage, a patch of green could and would grow tall, thick vines that in time harden and build on top of each other, reaching high into the sky. More moss falls from these giant tree-like vines, causing more patches of green moss to grow, spreading forth, giving off increasing oxygen, enriching the soils with mineral vegetation. It was abundant when chosen to grow from or within the mossy meadows. Not all see the gift and fear what they do not know. Such unnatural organics with sudden growth and abundance not only come with questions from unwitting individuals, but also violence and commotion turn to war. Wars turn to destruction and the deaths of nations. Division caused from such gifts of endless giving, deaths beyond description. The victors push back the enemy, a decreasing army of fading souls pushed back into the dark mountains, pushed back and deep below, a place where no plant would emerge, no green, no life of giving. Barren of living for nothing has the chance to grow, poison above and below. Every step forward caused the air to fill with a thick smog of acidic particles that float like fire smoke. All this evolved from the teardrops of a child. A vision comes to Sir JSTR as he turns his head at the end of the path to signal a final send-off. The vision of his children in a possible future comes and goes like any other daydream would.
I see my children crying tears that glow with the green of sunlit grass.
Sir JSTR turns slowly on his tall, strong brown and black stallion. He clicks his horse to buck, reaching up high before galloping off into the distance. However, his men question among themselves.
Without sight, how could he see the truth from a distance without eyes? How possibly to see events that are yet to be without the training of many masters after many years? To see his children's tears without sight?
Each knight in that moment was inspired and chose to join the journey, following his command with all the respect a captain would deserve. They did so with honor, and fear played no part. The dark forest and the white raven crow. Skellingtons from the south, monsters dripping in gold and silver, from the dark mountains they came, invading from the south with swords of flame, the swords dripping with oils. They've been seen and sought for hunting and taking the youngest of us all. For this we will go to war. Within the dark forest there is a valley full of dangers awaiting any gullible traveller who dares to come near, any who stumble by intention or accident into a forest of darkness, blinded with madness projected from the forest floor. A twisted mind is an easy meal for the labyrinth of sharp, hungry, poisonous thorns. As confusion dissipates, you realize you have already met a fateful demise. As you are, you join the call, a call that can be heard by those who go near, a whisper sending chills down the spine, a hypnotic call crying out for you to come join all things dead. Black, musky, dank, damp, and full of despair, the creek running through it could only resemble fecal matter. In the middle of the thorned labyrinth of bad omens, there was a small hut, built into and under a very old and very dead vemperon tree. Maybe this one is the last of its kind still standing, as evidence that it ever existed. However, under the tree bad things happen. The memories of pain and torment stain every fibre and atom that create this place of hate. Rear and raw, festering beneath, above, a willing vengeance to infect everything we know, to hold dear. Inside the dark, moist, slimed-covered doors, a vast space has been dug out with many shelves, drawers, jars, books, assorted random animal parts, some made into arts and crafts pieces. Among all the dust and web-covered shelving, behind a pickled jar of worms and left to a fermented cat's tongue, lay a jar with two bright eyes looking on. The hands of the spellcaster Edward Zipper reach up and in, gripping the jar, pulling it forward and down off the shelf, quickly covered with cloth, and put out onto the entryway of his own hut, as he himself, and all that he could carry, made an escape through a dug-out tunnel that led to a lake, where a raft awaits his quick escape. The dark forest, so full of hate and despair, wasn't always this way. Once abundant fields and valleys of endless green, a change so dramatic it comes with a story of its own that must be told. A bedtime story, a pre-warning, this is a place for a person to be. Its history starts as a simple meadow, waterholes, foliage covers all that can be seen. The grass waves with breeze, and at this time it seemed nothing could be easier than living in such a place of calm and tranquility. Life flew, swung and crawled, lived and passed, becoming the soil and the grass and once again life for living, and this was all there was to be, a cycle of living, fruits from the tree of life, until this life was suddenly interrupted, put into a halt to the meadow, and all that harboured within its greens, caves, under trees. The putrid fester of hate had taken hold. It spreads with poison's infestation, and any in its way will become a part of its evolution, spreading so quick there was no chance for revolt, nor revolution. The abrupt devastation left no living thing alive, all turned to black rotting roots, black shards of violent rock, dark dust particles that float upon the air that are now poisonous to anything that comes into contact. The former meadow gave strength to an evil, heavy, dark, dangerous. Such devastation comes from one simple little seed of a bad deed that was not done. This seed was formed from the pure hatred of a brother. The brother had lost the love of his wife to the much taller, much richer, much more well-off older brother. This was a violation to the values they had committed upon. The hurt turned to pain. The pain festered into hate. That emotion, strong, dark, festering hatred, turned into action. And so the younger brother planned his final judgment on his brother, a conviction to display the emotions that had consumed him for so long. For so long the days were lost, the months passed, staring at a wall, imagining all that would be done to his older brother, seeing in the mind's eye those plans coming into reality. The blood, the carnage, the joy that would be felt in such a moment. The younger brother smiles at the wall where months have withered. The festering hatred had driven him into action, and murder was the only thought consuming his every thought, his existence a motivation for justice, vengeance for the broken mind, revenge for the shattered heart, retribution for the tolling pain that has tormented the body of the younger brother. On a night dark and cold, the younger brother stalks his older brother and wife. Glaring from behind corners, bushes and shrubs, lurking within the shadows, he remains unnoticed, undetected, watching with violent thoughts. The younger brother stood behind a bush, awaiting his opportunity. As the couple walked closer, the younger brother gripped his weapon tight. Closer they came, clenching the handle of his blade. He twists his hands each way, gripping tighter. Closer, just a step away, all the hate festers to the surface, boiling his blood with red pulsating veins, muscles fueled with adrenaline. The body tenses up, raising the blade, ready to strike with all the emotions that had been felt. As the younger brother stepped out of the shadows and stood into the light, the moment his older brother would turn, and so would his former wife. And that the moment time would slow, as the younger brother would see a pregnant belly, a child within his former lover, life innocent, yet to be born so vulnerable. Suddenly all the festering hate left the younger brother's body. Within a moment all that was felt had been lifted, floating off into the night's air. Feeling free from the burden of hatred and being released of this emotion, the younger brother laughs out loud, dropping his weapon to the ground. Then, with tears in his eyes, he greets his older brother, putting one hand on his shoulder. They then laugh together, and then the brothers embrace with a gentleman's hug and congratulations. With this embrace, the brothers reunite, and in a near future, a family, a son, a child that would have his uncle teach him values and wonders of the world. However, energy does not die, and all that festering hate, the passionate fate of another's demise, the putrid stench of all the rotting thoughts had to go somewhere. And so a seed was formed, the seedling floating into the night sky and traveling with the breeze like any seedling would. However, this seedling held a festering hate, willing to consume all and procreate the darkness that grows from a bad deed not done. Dark energy to feed a dark forest that grows. Trunks of hate grow from intention. Thorns grow from every evil thought that is willed to be acted upon. With all the hatred, the thorns grow into vined walls of impossible design. A labyrinth of dark entities had begun to evolve, and it is here all dark things come to call home. Growing, they have no nurture, only fester. And as it has been forever, never travel near the dark forest. Never be lost within the night. Never trust black raven crows. Stay close to the path and never run ahead, for sticking together might just be the means to your survival. Segesta stands at the edge of the dark forest, staring into an abyss of twisted and tormented vines, the vines as black as a night without a moon and absent of stars. His mind is quickly decided danger is present, yet he cannot move. Hypnotized, he just stands there, standing frozen. To his comrades they could be mistaken to see their leader standing strong, for his stature is unshaken. as he stares without eyes, strongly fixated into the lingering doom. It would seem the dark forest already had their leader in its grasp, hooked by the glooming thoughts of knowing the inevitable is about to happen. Standing at the edge of a dark forest that breathes with despair, Sir Jester continues his staring stance, glaring into unretractable thoughts. As unthinkable thoughts begin to fester, Sir Jester is captured by thoughts and acts that would never be his own. The poisonous thorns throbbed with anticipation and a welcoming despair. Looking into the depths of the dark forest that throbs and beats with a festering stench of hate, seeming to constantly move, the brain strains to find a stable state to concentrate. The distance draws closer, but yet moves away at the same time, seemingly breathing, alive. Time falls irrelevant as the balance beneath your feet suddenly shakes. White shivers run from head to toe, and without any warning, a weight heavy buckles the body to the knees. Discombobulated, your brain strains to concentrate, looking into the void. When you fall and without a moment to spare, find your feet, find a breath of fresh air, because if you dare to continue to lay there, where you are, the forest vines will surely come in your moment of mourning, in your moment of sorrow. The dark forest has no care for your despair. Without hesitation, this was its intention. It will grab a hold with the poisonous vines, wrap you up and drag you in. Your cries only add the flavor as it swallows you up, digests you whole, and spits out what could only be another grain of yellow soil among millions more of yellow grains that meet the same fate.
I find myself trapped inside the dark forest, deep inside the dark forest that was in the distance only just seconds ago. I remember resting on the borders of the predicted safety limits. It seems it was not far enough as I am now here, trapped without memory of this teleportation. A natural confusion flustered my brain with disorientation. My head is spinning. This just can't be. It's just not possible. But yet the reality seems to breathe, and I begin to see shades, shadows, and shapes race from the corner of my eye, left, right, above and below. The shadows gather, merge, and separate, hidden beneath the drowning noise of demented screams. Holding my ears, my brain repeats over and over again, I can't believe how it has come to this, how this living experience could even possibly be a true reality. And so a natural thought followed with my first question to be said out loud: could this all be a dream? Wishful hopes that a dream is all it is could be, just a bad dream, a really, really bad dream. A possible dream. When I fall asleep, last I remember, I was in a resting pose only a moment ago, laying on my back and on the verge of falling into a deep sleep. I remember the warmth and comfort of our smoldering fire right in front of me, the burning embers blistering and popping. Now even the smell has abandoned me. I last remember being by the fire with my eyes growing heavy on the cusp of a deeply required unbroken sleep. Boom, there was a sudden shock that awoke me in fright. Fear sets in, worthlessness takes hold, the ominous feeling of dread lingers in the same air I breathe. With a feeling of falling, I awoke to being held, suspended and bound by hundreds of thorns that grow from thick black vines, black as the darkest shadow that is a veil covering my vacant eyes. Becoming more lucid to the surroundings, how I got to this place remains without memory. Stuck in the poisonous vines and thorns described to me as a child, memories of lessons learned come flooding into thought. Memories of distant dreams hint at a remedy to keep the vines at bay. All suggestions are useless at such a moment. The pressing thorns pose an immediate threat. How could it be possible to get free with such forces against me?